Hello, welcome back. It's me, Arden Lee. I am back with another video today, and today I want to talk about what to do when a whole bunch of bad stuff happens to you out of the blue that is most likely not your fault. And I am making that video for a personal reason today because I'm having one of those weeks where a whole bunch of stuff is going wrong and it kind of has nothing to do with me. And so I'm gonna get to that in a little bit. First, if you're arriving to my channel now and you don't know me already, I am Arden Lee, and I'm the creator of the Repatterning Project, which is a community and an 8-week course where we hack our beliefs to optimize our lives for both happiness and success. And if you would like to learn more about the repatterning modality, you can go into the description box. There is a link to a free PDF guide that you can download. And there is also a link to a free Facebook community that you can join where you can connect with me and with other like-minded individuals who are all working on their personal growth. So go ahead and do that. If you haven't already, I would love to hear from you. Now, what I want to talk about today is this phenomenon that happens when you're moving forward in your life and you're making great strides and great advances and you're putting a lot of work in, and all of a sudden it seems like everything just goes wrong, just weirdly out of the blue, And I'm not talking in this video about really deep hurtful traumas like maybe your mom gets sick or a family member dies or whatever. I'm talking about like when it's that energy of those logistical things that go wrong that you can really get over if you need to, but that just kind of come out of nowhere and don't really make sense and are really frustrating and can absolutely bring you down into that like really frustrated negative vibration where you're just wondering why things are going wrong all the time and why is this happening to you, etc., etc. So first of all, you may have noticed that in the last several weeks I've been posting a lot more videos. For those of you who have been around on my channel for a long time who haven't just kind of discovered it in the last couple weeks, come here you. Virgil has been running around being very disruptive. I actually recorded half of this video before, and then I had to get up and stop him from jumping up on the table again because he's running around being a crazy cat. Right? Everything's going wrong, even including you interrupting my videos. I'm not even going to speak that desire into the ether because everything's actually just fine and everything is completely normal. In this video, I'm going to explain why. So you may have noticed that I've been making a lot more videos lately. I've been putting out like 2 a day every weekday, and the reason for that is because after the first beta launch of the Repatterning Project, which happened in July and August, I said, you know what, I've really landed on something that I believe I could teach for the rest of my life. I really love this course. I really believe in the work that we're doing. I really feel very solid about teaching this. So I invested in a business coach to really help me take my teaching of the Repatterning Project to the next level with business knowledge that I did not otherwise have. And I hired my friend Adam Lyons, who is just an amazing person. He's been one of my best friends for almost a decade now. And we were dating coaches together, like in the whole dating coach scene. We've been friends ever since then. So he has me now, he's put me on a content schedule to widen my audience so that I can reach more people, have more of an impact, and have more of those synergistic connections where people are really resonating with what I have to offer and want my help. And so so that I can grow that business and have more and more of an impact in the world, and keep that expansion, just going and going. So I have recently made that investment in myself to take my life to the next level, to take my work to the next level, so that I can be making the kind of impact that I want to make in the world. And hiring Adam to help facilitate that, because what he does now is he's primarily a business coach. He helps people to do what they're passionate about for a living and to thrive doing it as well. So I've just made a big investment in my future. I've just made a big step forward. I've said, all right, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. This is what I want to do with my life. This is what I'm willing, the kind of work that I'm willing to do. in order to get to the next level. And I've been following up on all my commitments. Slowly but surely I'm adjusting to the new schedule. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm working it. I'm doing my best. And in the past couple weeks, I've had so many annoying setbacks that really didn't have anything specifically to do with me or with the quality of my work. Specifically, I got in a car accident, a couple days really after I got back from the intensive in Austin, Texas, where I was working with Adam. And even though that was partly my fault, it was like a 4-car kind of bumper to bumper, pile up, or whatever. Nobody was hurt. Everyone was fine. I was the 4th car in that lineup. So at the very least, I know I'm responsible for the car that I hit or whatever. But it's like, we're on a highway, people are stopping and starting. It was like, I'm not going to beat myself up for that or whatever. I'm just going to deal with it, and I'm going to move forward. So sure enough, I called insurance. I did everything that I needed to do, and I got hooked up with a rental. And it's looking like I'm going to need to buy a new car. Even though the damage was pretty minimal, they still ended up totaling the car because, whatever, the engine got crunched up because the fender went under the car that was in front of me, which kind of sucked. If it had been level, if they had just bumped, like, it wouldn't have been nearly as bad. But anyway, I'm not going to get into details, but because I'm like, oh wow, okay, well, I'm gonna need a new car. And in my scene, in like the sort of like magic-y witchcraft scene that I kind of hang out in LA, there is a thing that kind of goes around, like, where it's like, it's not quite a superstition, but it's just like, oh, if you're in a car accident and you need a new car, oh, congratulations, you must be getting an upgrade. Like, your life must be getting an upgrade because you need something new. This must mean that you're having more money come into you, you're having more expansion come into you, because this wouldn't have happened if you weren't able to handle it. And you can say that that's a kind of Pollyanna view or whatever, and maybe it is a little bit superstitious, but it's a thing that we say, and it's a thing that works for us. So I was like, all right, fine, this is all good. Still gonna make sure that I really hustle and really start to do my work, of course, because it's looking like I'm gonna have to buy a new car, so I want to make sure I have the resources for that. So today I'm running around, seeing clients, etc. And I'm in my rental car, and someone sideswipes me, pulling out of a parking space. Like, I was just minding my own business in my lane, and they pull out of a parking space and hit my car. There's no question, like, they were at fault, and we pulled over, and I got a shot of her license plate, but then she sped off and didn't come back. And I was like, what? So luckily, I got the plate number or whatever, and the police arrived at the scene, and I filed a report. And then, the police leave and everything, and they're like, well, obviously it's her fault, it's a hit and run, and you got her plate number, so you should be fine. And then as I'm waiting there, her brother apparently comes back and approaches me, and starts threatening me and starts saying, like, I heard my sister hit you, I need your information. I'm like, well, the police came and went, so I'm happy to give you the case number. And he's like, no, you don't get to play that way, bitch. And I was like, wow, if you're gonna harass me literally while I'm sitting here in I was like, no, I got into my car and I just took off. I was like, no, you can't, I'm not gonna reason with you if you're gonna talk to me like that. So there I am, and I get to a safe space. I pull into a gas station, and I'm like on the phone with insurance, and I call my mom, and I call Adam, and I'm like, I'm really upset at this point. I'm shaken up because I've gotten hit by a car that was completely just out of the blue, like literally coming at me out of a parking spot that's like, like a parallel parking spot that's like next to the curb of the street. And then she speeds off, and then her brother comes back and tries to harass me after the police have already gone. I'm like, what the fuck is even going on? I didn't ask for any of this. This had nothing to do with me. And I got Adam on the phone, and I talked to Adam, and I was like, and I told him what happened. And and he's like, hey, I've only got a few minutes, because he's off doing some teaching of his own this weekend. He's like, I've only got a few minutes, but have you heard of something called the force of average? I'm like, no, but I'm pretty sure I know what you mean. He's like, all right, I didn't come up with this, a buddy of mine came up with it. But what I want to explain to you about it is, whenever you're making a move toward really big expansion, there is, kind of just by the laws of physics, for every action there is an equal but opposite reaction. You're going to get pushback from the universe to try and keep you in the same spot. And that's why he calls it the force of average. You're trying to become greater, and this force is trying to push you back down to where you were so that you stay at that average plane. And I said, yes, I know exactly what you mean. And, in my communities, we talk a lot about this too. We often call it the contraction that comes before the expansion. That if you experience something that is this sort of deep negativity, this sort of test before you go off into, into your next step or whatever, that is essentially the universe setting you up to test you and make sure that you really want it badly enough, and that you've learned all your lessons from before, and that you're ready for this, So it is like, it is as I said, we call it the contraction before the expansion. Adam calls it the force of average. In the first, one of my favorite books, my favorite book when I was a teenager, it was given to me when I was 17. You might have heard of it. It's called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And if you haven't already, it's a really lovely fable, kind of parable type tale that tells a lot of the functions of the laws of the universe that we talk about it, but it tells it through a really beautiful, compelling story. So when I was at 17, I read this book, and sure enough, the hero is at that last spot on his journey, and it's like, looks like everything has been lost. He's been robbed. He's lost everything that he had, along the way that was helping him out or whatever. All of his friends have ditched him or whatever it is. And it's that last step before he finally reaches, the treasure or his destiny, the thing that he's meant for. So it's just this really well documented thing that happens, and I can't necessarily explain it scientifically. I can explain it philosophically, certainly by the laws of physics, but it's not something, there's no way that driver who sideswiped me today knows that I just invested a large amount in growing my business and that I'm looking to expand and level up my life. Like there's just no obvious connections around those things, but it's still so important to look at and to think about, because these are the kind of things that if they happen to us and we get into that negative mindset that like, why does this always happen? Why me? I'm so unlucky. I must be cursed, whatever. And we give up, and because we don't want it badly enough, or we're willing to let that negativity affect us in ways that is harmful, that is detrimental. So, and the stuff that's been that's like only one aspect also of like stuff that's been going on this week. There's so much like drama and stuff that I have to deal with right now, apparently, that again really has nothing to do with anything that I started, that I created. All kind of coming to me, for, reasons that really don't seem like they have anything to do with me. And I think you guys know me. I think I'm pretty good with accountability. The first thing that I like to do is I like to look at something and I say, how is this, somehow my responsibility? How is I a part of this so I can prevent this happening in the future too? Even when I got in the first accident, I was like, well, yeah, there were 4 cars and we all hit each other, but sure, I could probably leave a little more distance between my car and the car in front of me. I could, so I can hit the brakes a litlittle earlier or whatever and not have that happen. I'm happy to examine my involvement in any situation so that I can, because when I take accountability for something, it just helps. It just helps, there's nothing to be gained from trying to say that something was someone else's fault when it was really yours, because then you're not going to be able to change that behavior going forward. It's just silly. It doesn't even serve you, But, in terms of today, there was just nothing about that situation. Getting sideswiped from when I was in my own lane, minding my own business, from someone who was pulling out of a parking spot, who then decides to make it a hit and run by speeding off the wrong way down a one-way street after I tried to pull over and exchange information with her. And then her brother coming back and harassing me because he knows his sister's made a big fuck up by driving off and now having a hit and run instead of just a normal accident, normal police report. So looking at that, I'm like, yeah, that had nothing to do with me. And you know, there's a couple of things going on in my life right now that that really seem to have nothing to do with me, except the common denominator being that I am at a point in my life where I've really committed to leveling up. I've really committed to taking those next big steps so that I can be in a place that I want to be in, so that I can have the impact I want to have, so that I can, you know, have that life where I'm thriving and doing what I love, and helping people, and you know, living in that space of flow, that space of genius, that space of, you know, everything is already working, and it's just up to me to show up and do what I do best. So that's what I'm aiming for. And as all that is happening, you know, there is all this other stuff around me. So I'm like, all right, this is the force of average. This is the contraction before the expansion, you know. Weirdly enough, I got into a car accident last summer as well. That was also not anywhere near my fault. The woman, you know, who hit me ran a stop sign and T-boned me. You know, there was just no question. And you know, and I looked at that point too. I was definitely not I was not as level-headed about that one as I am now, because now I have more and more trust that things are really working out in my favor, and I'm in a better place now than I was last summer. You know, stability-wise. When that happened, you know, I really just, I was like, well, I have no choice but to look at this as an upgrade of some kind, or at least to keep my mind open to that possibility. And sure enough, you know, it was very shortly after that I really leveled up in my music as an artist. When I put out my album, you know, just several months later, and it came out with really great reviews. And you know, I spent those next several months after that accident really committing to that. So regardless even of whether it's true, if you want to argue that this is not true and has no basis in scientific fact, you're absolutely welcome to do that. I probably can't debate you on that. I might stick Adam on you, because he might he might have a better means of debating that scientifically than I would at this point. But what I will say is that it is absolutely a helpful belief, because if you have a week where everything starts going wrong, when you're really trying to mind your own business, and you're really trying to do well for yourself, and you're really trying to step it up and level up in the world, and then, you know, a bunch of people just come out of the woodwork and start messing your shit up for reasons that you didn't have anything to do with, you have two choices there. You have, you know, your first choice is to say, this always happens, everyone's fucked up, I fucking hate this, I hate the world, everything sucks, you know. And you can imagine the kind of results that you're going to get with that kind of attitude. Or you can say, all right, this is clearly the contraction before the expansion. This is the force of average trying to keep me down, but I'm not going to let it. All I have to do is just maintain my own vibration and step up to the plate and mind my business, do my own work, get good work done, show up, keep my word, keep my promises, keep on trucking every day, and just make those little steps, and everything is going to work out just fine. Well, what do you think is going to get you the better results, you know? So regardless, I hope you practice this when you have weeks where stuff happens to you that is just super not fun and not your fault. And you know, it happens to the best of us. It's happening to me right now, but you know, it's cool. I'm home, I've got my CBD tea in my owl wine glass, and I'm going to drink it, and I'm going to chill out and, you know, just let my anxiety go out the window. So what else am I going to do? I'm going to call the rental place tomorrow and tell them what happened. And the nice thing is that, you know, since I do take responsibility for all my actions, I can really say that I remain in my integrity, no matter what happens. If there's an accident that's my fault, you know, I'll chalk it up to being my fault, and I'll deal with it, and I'll handle it like a big girl. And if there's an accident that's absolutely not my fault, which is absolutely the case in this case, then, you know, I'll show up and I'll say, here's what happened, and, you know, it wasn't my fault. What are we going to do? What do we do next? What's the next step from here? You know, how do we move forward? So that really is the difference between when the universe tests you and wants to make sure that you're ready for that next level. You know, take those lemons and go home and make a video about it, you know, inspire other people, let them know what to do, you know, whatever that is. That's the course of action I'm choosing to take tonight. I'm going to make something good out of this, even if it's just a YouTube video. And hopefully some of y'all are inspired by this too, and hope it helps some people. So cheers. I'm going to chill the fuck out and say goodbye to this terrible week. So I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you're having a better week than I am.